Cup come to our home city.
Was it 9 years ago?
Something like that. It was exciting, and the announcement made that it will happen again. Jim Courier is with us, the U.S. Davis Cup captain, and I know that you and Jim have worked together before. Jim, welcome back to the show, buddy. How are you today?
It's great to be back with you guys. How's everyone today?
Jim, we're doing great.
Fired up.
And Rick, you don't realize Jim is a legend. He's a former number one in the world. He's won 4 Grand Slams, 2 at the French, 2 at the Australian, and he's just done all kind of great things for tennis. Jim, we're glad to have you on, brother.
It's great to be back on the show. You know, one thing that I've never actually done, though, is had my very own camouflage tennis racket. And
You remember that, huh?
that for me is a great disappointment that you have one, Bub, and I don't.
Well, you know what I'd like to do is get you one that's red, white, and blue and give it to you after you take the Swiss down.
That would be pretty good. You know what's funny is one of our players who will likely be with us, our second-ranked player in the U.S. right now, a youngster named Jack Sock, plays with a racket that's red, white, and blue and got all the flag on it. So we'll be representing nicely in Birmingham here in February for sure.
You know, I've always liked Sock, and I've seen him play at the U.S. Open a couple of times. And, you know, Jim, you're real slim, but I always liked Sock coming up because he was built a little more, you know, he looked more like I did out on the court, a little more stocky. You know what I mean?
Jack is farm strong. He's got a little bit of that Andy Roddick build, you know. He's a big boy, but I will tell you this, guys. If your listeners have not heard or seen Jack Sock, he's about 23 years old. He's ranked 23 in the world right now, and he's fast rising. He won a gold medal in mixed doubles at the Olympics and a bronze in doubles. And he is, in my opinion, one of the top 5 athletes in men's tennis globally. He is incredibly – I mean, he could have played any sport. He is so explosive, so fast, and has so much upside. If you haven't seen him, Birmingham's going to be a really good chance for the area people to get a look at the future of American tennis because he's explosive. It's fun to watch.
And Jim, I know you were here for the Davis Cup when it was here previously. You wasn't captain then, but you were here watching, and you've been back with the Champions Tour since then. But you know, I thought our venue looked good and had a great feel to it before, and we want to replicate that home court advantage again for you guys.
It was magical. I came down, sat about in the 5th row. I'll have a little closer view of the action on the bench this time as the captain. But it was powerful in there. The place was packed. It was patriotic. For those of your listeners who don't know what Davis Cup is, it's the U.S. playing as a nation, our top tennis team playing against nations around the world. In this case, we'll be playing Switzerland, which is the home of Roger Federer and Stan Wawrinka, who just won the U.S. Open this year, actually. So it's kind of more like a college football or college basketball environment than a traditional tennis tournament. For those of you who were there, obviously you remember how loud and raucous it was, and that's the kind of energy we hope to replicate when we come back February 3 through 5.
You know, Jim, I've said I think some of the PR problems that tennis has is that it's not that atmosphere that Davis Cup has all the time. So I think when we go to Davis Cup, it's the very best of tennis. We get to act like Americans. It's more of the style that we like. And as you said, for people not familiar with it, you know, it gets compared to the Ryder Cup sometimes. It's because it's nation against nation. But this is a great event, and the tennis people know that. But, Jim, I was surprised at how many people I knew who had never held a tennis racket, probably never watched a Grand Slam, who just go, you know, I know this is a big deal. I'm going to go down here and check it out. And they were absolutely blown away. And a lot of them became tennis fans after it last time.
Yeah, I hear that story basically after every Davis Cup tie that we play in the U.S. that people are brought into the sport because of that reason, because it's a capital E event. It has that energy and the atmosphere, the patriotism that we get. I mean, I would kind of compare it to, like, when I watch, like, the Olympics or something like that. There are a lot of sports that I'm not that interested in. But because those are our best athletes in that sport playing for the red, white, and blue, I get fired up. I mean, I'm watching the archery going, and this is pretty damn cool. I can say that on your show.
Yeah. Well,
in this case, you can.
Yeah. When I was screaming at curling, I knew I had crossed the bridge.
Exactly.
But,
sweep it.
We want tennis fans. We want everyone to come out.
Well, let me ask you this question concerning Bubba. how many people, and we've only documented 2, Bubba being one, how many people in tennis also deer hunt? Are there that many? I mean,
There's a few.
Because
There'll be a few.
I'm wondering, because I want to put out the Rick and Bubba camo tennis racket in our store, and I'm wondering what kind of market's out there.
I'm sure there are quite a few, actually. My brother being one of them.
There you go.
So that make it 3 right there. And I wouldn't be surprised if John Isner, the big fella who's our number 1 ranked American tennis player, is from Greensboro, North Carolina. If he hasn't strapped on the camo and gone after some deer in his time as well.
I bet
he's so tall he doesn't have to climb a ladder stand. He just leans up against a tree.
Pretty much.
Well, let's talk about.
They make camo big enough for him.
That's true. Let's talk about tickets, because I know a lot of people now. By the way, if you don't know, the event will be in Birmingham. It's going to be Friday, February the 3rd, Saturday the 4th, and Sunday the 5th.
A 3-day event.
Now, if you are the general public, this Friday tickets are going to go on sale. Now to start at 10 a.m. on Central Time. So we have the links at rickandbubba.com. But Bubba, today, if you're a USTA member, and Jim, you can go ahead and get tickets today, right?
Yeah, you can go onto the USTA website, just USTA.com. You can just do a search for it. Then look for the Davis Cup link there, and USTA members get early access to tickets. And then, as you mentioned, general public on Friday can go get them too. And I'm sure you can get them at the box office there for the Legacy Arena down there in Birmingham, and normal places to get them. But we're ready to go. I talked to a lot of the guys actually last night. The guys on the team, everyone's fired up. They'll be coming in hot from the Australian Open, so they'll have some good tennis under their belt and be ready to fire for the USA.
Yeah, if you want a direct link to that, it's USTA.com/Davis Cup.
Yeah, all that's in show notes, guys.
Yeah, and rickandbubba.com at show notes, we have the link sitting right there. So for USTA members, go click it now, and then for general public, it'll be Friday.
Yep.
So that and we want to have a rowdy atmosphere.
Jim, I have to tell you, it was probably, and we've been to the U.S. Open several times, but it had to be probably the 3 most fun days of tennis that I have ever experienced, and I know this time's even going to be better.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I was there with my wife, and my brother was living and working in Birmingham at the time, and we had an absolute blast at the event. We played Switzerland once since then. We beat them in Switzerland, so now we get to host again. I know they're going to be out for a little revenge, but it'll be our job to stop them, and the crowd's job to help us do it.
We're up 3-1 facing Switzerland. I didn't realize that we had that kind of lead, and so really our matchup has been pretty good, even against, like you said, when they had some of the biggest names in the tennis world. We've rose up.
Yeah, well, we beat them 5 matches to 0. The way these things work is you play 2 singles matches on Friday, a doubles on Saturday, and 2 singles on Sunday. And we went into Switzerland in 2012, and we were the heavy underdogs against Federer and Wawrinka, and we came in and swept them. So, I'm sure that stung them a little bit. You don't get swept at home very often, especially if you have the number 1 player in the world like they had at the time. So. We'll be ready for them, though. People like to come and take the U.S.'s scalp if they can, but it's our job to hold that line.
Well, all the tickets you can find at rickandbubba.com. USTA members, today's your day. The link is there. The general public, 10 a.m. Central Time this Friday. Jim, thanks for taking time to be with us, and look forward to having you back in our part of the world.
Great being with you guys. Look forward to seeing you guys all out there, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, our
Thanks,
pleasure.
Jim.
Thanks. Jim Courier, U.S. Davis Cup captain, ready to take on Switzerland in Birmingham, Alabama, February 3rd, 4th, and 5th. USTA members, the link's at rickandbubba.com. Go grab your seats today. Everybody else, it opens at 10 a.m. Central Time on Friday. And go ahead and grab your tickets and make plans to be with us in Birmingham. We'll be right back. Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba. All right, Bubba, a minute ago we had a moment, and there's a lot of celebration going on. And we love Christmas, and we celebrate, and we love it. You walked in clutching a breakfast burrito, and you looked at me, and you said, Rick, do you remember me eating breakfast? To which I replied, sadly, no. I don't recall. I've seen various things roll through. I've caught a cookie here or there. I know that one of our listeners brought us sausage balls, which is one of our breakfast favorites. I've seen you knock back a couple of those.
I had one on the way, but I haven't really got me a plate
Right.
yet and fixed it. But
Yeah, I've seen you.
going
Yeah,
to.
it was just strictly singles that I saw.
Well, just one. I just got
Yeah.
one.
So I don't know whether you had eaten or not, but you said you found a breakfast burrito, which you normally order, and you wondered, is that somebody else's? Have you already eaten yours? Because you were probably surprised, as I was, that it had sat in there that long.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
it all began.
But you have no
earlier.
recollection of eating.
It began earlier today. My alarm did not go off, and I overslept, which kind of puts you behind the
it's
eight
a
ball a little
terrible
bit.
feeling.
And I was late for me, not late for the show.
Right, yeah.
We got here, so I always feel a little bit behind and rushed when that happens, So we've had a very lively show today. We had the 12 days earlier than we usually have it. And we had Jim Courier on and several things. And I was walking through the kitchen, and I saw a breakfast burrito lying there, and I thought,
It's kind of sad.
I wonder whose that is.
Right.
And I looked at it, and it didn't have the sticker on it with no peppers and no onions like I usually get.
Right.
And I thought, well, there it is. It's just all by itself. I wonder whose that is. And then I got to thinking, did I eat breakfast? Is it mine?
Right.
You forgot if you ate.
And so I started thinking, did I have breakfast or not? And I really could not decide.
I would like to bring up a point which I think most people are thinking of right now. The fact that you asked, did I eat, to me,
Right.
means there have been times you've eaten and didn't recall it?
Not
you,
a
Rick.
lot of them, but I was thinking I don't need to eat two of those. But the flip side is I don't want to get weak in the knees later this
Well,
morning.
no, God forbid.
'Cause,
So,
this is cold and flu season. You need to keep your your weight up.
so you have consumed meals you don't recall?
Not
hear what he
normally.
just said?
That's why I ask.
Right.
If I did, I don't know about it. I didn't know.
Right. Yeah. So you were saying that we could document it if you can come up with seeing me eating one right now.
But I
you
got
hadn't,
to
you hadn't had
thinking,
any Ambien or anything today, have you?
No, I've never done
Okay.
Ambien.
Just checking.
I am pretty sure that's the second burrito you've partaked in this morning.
What I
don't
love
think
is
I
that-
had one.
I really am.
How'd we end up with an extra?
Yeah.
What
so-
I love is that when in
you
doubt, you went ahead and ate it.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Well, no question about that.
I love how he just claims since it was cold and flu season, you need to keep your weight up. Don't miss that.
Wait a minute.
Do you see two in there or
Wait
one?
a minute. Wait.
Only one. So say I didn't eat breakfast.
Cold and flu season. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Keep his weight up.
Because you get hit with that flu, you'll be sick in the bed, lose a lot of weight. That's a good point. You don't need to go into that being wormy.
No.
No. As you can tell, I live by it.
Yeah. I mean, look what happened to that tennis player that lost all that weight. He used to look just like Bubba.
I know. It's exactly like him. A lot of people are the same guy.
Y'all are misquoting me on that.
I've Googled Jack
I
Sock
very
overweight and I
carefully-
can't find it.
I very carefully worded that because I knew exactly.
Right.
But you can't talk about Pearl Harbor. You can't talk about a tennis player in here. I mean the level of scrutiny here is beyond just not telling the truth.
What is that?
What you would like for people to keep
What
you
did you think you said when you
accountable?
said that?
Yeah.
give us your version.
What's the tennis player's name?
Jack Sock.
Okay. So you said if I recall it, and I look, I don't
I
remember.
said years ago when we first saw him at the U.S. Open, I was a fan of his right away because he didn't look like the normal tennis players.
No,
They
you
No,
were-
say
your
he looked
quote
they were
was
tall and skinny, and
quote-
he was a little thicker than they were.
right. Your quote was he looked a little more like me.
A little more like me, which would be thicker on the tennis court than a lot of the other skinny players.
I think the key word to you to be correctly is the word little. A little more like me.
Well, I think that's what I said.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe tiny.
He was thicker. He was a little more.
He's 6'3".
He didn't look like a lanky basketball
Right.
player. He looked more like somebody that might be a fullback.
Right.
Now he's slimmer now. When I
you
saw him
said
U.S.
that,
Open, he was.
I pictured
a
you
teenager.
like
Yeah,
maybe.
right.
No,
Did
well, he
like
wouldn't
you.
be a professional.
So he wasn't
player
chubby.
like me.
I did Google
I'm
him
just
overweight,
saying-
and this is all I could come up with.
I'm
here.
just saying I would be a lot closer to him than I would Roger Federer or Stan Wawrinka.
You're
or
saying
Novak.
there's a big gap, but if
You'd
you
say
were
he's a little thicker there.
if you were gonna say, and he looks a
He looks 6'3", 190.
he looks a minuscule little more like one step towards you.
You see
somehow.
what happened to him during the cold and flu season.
You know what?
If
He had
he'd
his
kept,
weight
his, if
down.
he'd kept his weight up, he'd have been fine.
This is him before he went down here. Same match.
I've seen you in a shirt
Wait,
similar.
Bubba. Oh, wait a minute.
I said more like.
I thought that was from the
thicker.
Pelham Racket
Oh,
Club.
wait a minute. There's no camo racket. That's not Bubba. For a minute, I thought.
Chilling effect on creativity. Chilling.
Was that Rick and Bubba night at the tennis?
Matter of fact, John Sock says he didn't recall if he'd have eaten that day. I guess.
John Sock.
What's his name?
Jack.
It's something socks. Is it socks? Like socks you wear on your feet?
Sock. Single.
Well, what did they call John F. Kennedy? Jack Kennedy. So I wasn't that far.
Jack
hey, I was a little more like me. You know what I mean?
For some reason, when you say Jack Sock, it sounds like a nursery rhyme, like he jumped over the candlestick or something.
Yeah, it does. It does. All right.
I'm gonna find some more pictures.
I have looked
said
at those
more
Hey,
pictures.
like-
listen. Google Kevin James celebrity tennis. Now you got one.
Rick, I heard Jim Courier. He even paused when Bubba said, "What the?"
Do Chaz Bono playing tennis.
Rick and Bubba.